This is Street Knowledge with Chris Graham.
Welcome to the podcast. I am Chris Graham. I'm joined by Adam Page, Hangman Page from Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling. And Adam, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the interview, I've got to be a fanboy for a second and ask this question: what is up with Bullet Club? You're breaking my heart here. The way the club is, sort of maybe coming apart at its seams here. What's going on in Bullet Club?
We're not coming apart at the seams. We're fine. Bullet Club is fine. And look, we are a group of the most entertaining, athletic, all-around best wrestlers on the planet. And you're just going to have a little bit of a, rift sometimes. But it's fine. Things are fine, and we'll work it out. This whole thing is really about a little disagreement between Cody and Kenny. And they have a match coming up, and once that's over, we're fine. Okay, just got to get it out of our system.
I've got to say this too. I love the way the story's been playing out. Really, I mean, the patience with this the last year or so has just been awesome. The way it's been slowly building towards this. And so, talking about slow build, this coming weekend, the 16th anniversary show for Ring of Honor. You guys, you and the Young Bucks will be defending, as the Hung Bucks, as you're called, that you'll be defending the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Championships against SoCal Uncensored. Talk about this big show, 16th anniversary show, and what you guys have in store for the weekend.
Man, this should be huge. We're defending six-man titles since I think August. We've had quite a while, and a lot of successful defenses, but we're defending them at the 16th anniversary against SoCal Uncensored in a street fight. And when we have these kind of stipulation matches, myself, Matt, and Nick, we tend to go a little nuts. We tend to go all out. I don't know if you saw stuff from this past weekend, but the match wasn't even necessarily supposed to be so crazy, so violent. But when the pressure's on, when you've got a big match, and when you've got that opportunity, we go nuts. So it should be a spectacle, absolute spectacle.
And we're looking forward to it as fans. Now, I'm going to go back into the background a little bit. For my listeners in Virginia, I know on the internet you have listeners all over the place and readers all over the place. But specific to Virginia, Adam Page is a Virginia guy. He's a Virginia Tech alum, a Virginia native. And I also know that you trained at Boogie's Wrestling Camp with Jimmy Valiant, and that's someone I've actually been to Boogie's Wrestling Camp. I did a story on it a few years ago. I even got worked over by Jimmy, if you want to say. One time he said, "Hey, you want a copy of my book?" Sure, it's only $35. So at that point I kind of realized, hey man, I got worked over by one of the best in the business. But I just love Jimmy. A lot of his wrestlers have worked some local shows I've been a part of up here in the Waynesboro and Charlottesville areas. When did you know you wanted to be a pro wrestler? I mean, with your degree at Virginia Tech, from what I've read, you even knew when you were going to Virginia Tech that this might be crazy, but I'm going to go into pro wrestling when this is over with.
No, man, I started wrestling in high school.
Uh-huh.
I started training to be a wrestler at 15, and I was doing shows, every weekend or every other weekend or whatever, when I was 16. So, my junior and senior year of high school, I was a pro wrestler. And these were small shows. These were not making me any. If I was making money, it wasn't much. But they certainly weren't making me a profit. It was something I was enjoying. And I went to college. I had parents that kind of pushed me, to do that. And where I came from, that's just what you did. You went to high school, and then you went to college. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I majored in communication because I liked video editing. I had no idea what I was planning to do when I got out. But, I had a quick education in high school. I had a lot of college credits, so I got through Virginia Tech in 2 years with a bachelor's. And while I was at Tech, I was still wrestling every weekend. And I think that's when I realized maybe I'm kind of good at this, maybe enough to one day, just make a living at it. So I started going to these Ring of Honor camps and stuff, and eventually started working for Ring of Honor not long after college. I was a high school teacher for a little while and quit teaching because I was just so busy wrestling, and it had consumed me completely.
How much do you think maybe that background you have? I know, like you mentioned, a couple of years you were a high school teacher. graphic design, journalism, how much, and communications in general, and your degrees in communications, how much does that play into, developing, what you do, not only in the ring, but also developing your character, your interview style? I would think that that's a huge thing to be able to use as part of the basis of what you're doing now. The ability to communicate is so important, both in the ring, so fans can see what you're doing in a match, but also, out of the ring helping sell the match. I imagine that's a huge plus for you.
Yeah, man. I never thought that I'd be going to Virginia Tech studying communication, studying filmmaking, and then I'd be working on a YouTube series that would somehow make me very popular. So, yeah, man, all that stuff is translated well. Bullet Club and us guys, we're merchandise machines. So, I'm constantly pitching, stuff for merchandise for me or for other people, whatever it is, lending a hand on being the elite. I'm not the editor, but if we get in situations where it's, how can we do this? I'm kind of the person who knows, I know how we can do that kind of situation. That's just where I've ended up.
It's an interesting moment in time right now for both with Ring of Honor and New Japan. It seems like there's so much momentum here in the States. I mean, obviously Ring of Honor's had this foothold 16th anniversary show coming up this weekend. But right now with New Japan, its popularity, the way the ROH and New Japan work together so well, the buzz from those matches last year with Omega and Okada, the Cody Omega buzz now. This is an interesting moment in time, it seems like, for those two promotions, and really putting a lot of fans in seats and interest here in the States. What's it like from what you see? I mean, you live it, so do the guys sense that this is a chance right now for those promotions to really build on something here with all the attention you're getting?
I think Ring of Honor and I think New Japan have always been building. We're in a constant state of building. If you look at Ring of Honor's history, it's constantly building. And we're having, this past year, the biggest crowds we've ever had. I know Supercard of Honor in April will be is already our biggest crowd ever, before the doors have opened. I don't know if it's sold out completely. I don't know if they're opening up more seats. I'm not really sure, but I know it's already our biggest crowd ever. So we're doing record numbers. We're getting, the Honor Club started. We're going to have streaming service, through televisions and iPhones and whatever. That'll be soon. We're constantly building, and you have to. And this is a very special time for that because I think, Ring of Honor and New Japan are really kind of just hitting their stride here, and it's become a bit of a pop culture phenomenon too. So this is an amazing time in wrestling, and I think everybody in wrestling knows it. And if you don't, you shouldn't be in it.
March 25th, big match for you, Jay White, the IWGP US champion, new champion with the upset win over Kenny Omega back a few weeks ago. Hangman Page, it gets the challenge for this title. What do you think? I know you got the 6-man match this weekend, but looking forward to a singles title match coming up in Japan here in a few weeks. Your thoughts on Jay White and that match?
Yeah, man, this is big for me. This is the only singles title shot I've had in New Japan. It is only the second singles match I've ever had for New Japan, which may sound surprising. So this is something new for me. This is something big for me. But this is something I feel like I'm prepared for better than Jay White has ever been prepared for. Because I've been doing this kind of thing for the past 11 years. And this is on my turf. This is in America. I'm excited about it. I think it should be excellent. I think it should be violent. It should be vicious. Because I'm willing to do next to anything for that United States Championship, because that means the world to me.
I would ask too, what's it like for you? Everybody starts in pro wrestling working smaller shows, working their way up. But for you working the smaller shows in Virginia and the Carolinas, and then working the Wrestle Kingdom event in front of that huge crowd at the Tokyo Dome. What was it like walking through walking down the ramp and seeing all those people there and being a part of a show like that?
I don't know. What was it like? I mean, it's just you're there. It's surreal. You come out the ramp. You've seen the building before, but it's still going to surprise you, and it still does. You're just a ton of people, man, and it's cool. It's a cool feeling. And you have to stop every now and then and take it in, because we do this every weekend. It might not be 30,000 every weekend. It might be 3,000. But still, what we do isn't normal. But it does quickly become normal. You can become jaded. You don't take it in. But you have to kind of mentally, tell yourself to just stop a second, look around, because this doesn't last forever. And just take it in.
Yeah. And there are a lot of fans like me back home, up in the middle of the night watching to see what happens before anybody tries to spoil it for us on the internet. So we're trying to live that moment with you too. You talked about Supercard of Honor coming up April 7th. Huge show. I know that we know Cody versus Kenny at the top of the card there. But the attention that feud is getting and helping bring even more to Ring of Honor and to New Japan, I imagine that's a special weekend. I know that's about a month off, but already looking ahead to that, that's going to be a special weekend for you guys there.
Yeah, that should be huge. We've got a heck of a main event. The biggest Ring of Honor show in history. I don't have a match yet for sure. I guess it will be kind of dependent on things that happen this coming weekend with six-man title defense. I don't know. Past SoCal, who would be the next challengers. So I'm not sure what I'll be doing there, but I can guarantee you that I will go all out and go all in on whatever it is.
Okay, so I've got to ask the question. Virginia Tech alum. I'm heading actually tomorrow. I'll be heading up to the ACC basketball tournament in New York. Your Hokies look like they played their way into the NCAA basketball tournament. I'm not sure if you follow basketball closely, as busy as you are with Ring of Honor New Japan. But your Hokies look pretty good heading into March. Any thoughts about Virginia Tech basketball? I know the spring football's starting up. The football program seems to be in a good place. Any thoughts on either of those two things?
Yeah, man, that's great. Hey, congrats to them. I'll be honest with you, I don't follow basketball at all.
Okay.
I used to, I guess when I was a kid, I followed football. Frank Beamer, it was exciting. But honestly, I guess we've stayed so busy traveling and stuff. I haven't kept up with football in the past few years either. But hey, man, congrats to them. I'm happy.
Very good. Well, that is Adam Page, Hangman Page, and the big Ring of Honor 16th anniversary show is this weekend. And then, like we said, big busy schedule. March 25th, New Japan show challenging Jay White for the IWGP US Championship. Supercard of Honor April 7th. Adam, thanks for your time today.
Cool. Absolutely, man. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much.